I, Dr. Ravi Modani, President of TIE Rajasthan, on behalf of all at TIE Rajasthan, I welcome you all to this very special and exciting session on the inspiring story of Aditya Sanghi, the man who smashed the punch and became godly. I would also like to welcome members of TIE Pune and other TIE chapters all across the world, and the guests who have logged in on Facebook and watching this live. This is a part of our Inspire Aspire series of talks where we share the story and the journey of an entrepreneur, where we share the ideas, thoughts, and exchange questions between would be, aspiring to be, and established entrepreneurs. So, before we start the session, a small introduction about Aditya. Aditya co founded Punchh with his friends Jitendra, Shastri, and Sham. Today, Punchh is the industry leading loyalty and engagement platform, growing exponentially and serving more than 200 brands across the world with 95,000 stores globally. Punch is the powering loyalty program for 170 million customers, including Pizza Hut, KYC, etc. Punch raised more than $70 million from premier Silicon Valley investors and notably has been in the news very recently for its acquisition by PAR Technologies in the US for a $500,000 in cash and stock deal. That's big, $500 million. Punch is headquarters in California, US, with offices in Texas, Jaipur, Chennai, Toronto, and Singapore. Currently, Aditya is founding Godly, world's first and only devotee engagement program platform that is he conceptualized on the onset of COVID-19. Aditya is very well known among his international peers in the Ruby community for his efforts to make practical technologies accessible and useful. His earlier venture, Rising Sun Technologies, based out of Jaipur, emerged as one of the leaders in the country for Ruby on Rails based web applications. He has a Bachelor of Science degree in Computer Science from Queensland University of Technology, Brisbane, Australia, and has lived and worked in several countries, including Australia, Germany, India, Sweden. He has been an active member of TIE Rajasthan and has also been a part of management team in 2019 and 2020. Thank you, Aditya, for joining us today and welcome you to this evening. So good to have you here.
Wow. Thanks, Ravi. And thanks, everybody, for having me here. I am really humbled. I am also really aware of the really sort of solemn atmosphere that we currently have. And I know how difficult it is for a lot of people. And I really wish everybody remains safe. And I would really request everybody to mask up if they are stepping out and please extend yourself, and in the spirit of entrepreneurship, please extend your assistance in every which way that you can. That is my humble request to everybody. This is a trying time.
Thank you, Aditya. So, a lot of us know about you in some of the other capacity. In order to bring all of us on the common place, we'd like to know you personally and professionally. What's been your journey so far?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ravi. Look, I'm a Jaipur boy. Very briefly, I come from a business family. My family's been um, involved in the car trade for over 4 generations, going all the way up to my great grandfather. They're all in the business of selling cars. We've been fortunate. We're also well known in that space in Rajasthan and elsewhere in the country. But as I was growing up in the 80s, I got a fascination with computers. And I knew very well early in my life that I was going to be in this computer line. I used to tell my grandfather that, Dadaji, we can make software one time and then we can sell it again and again. And it's not like a car that has to be manufactured once and then sold. but you can just sell the same thing again and again. And it was really fascinating to me. I remember I would like to acknowledge our Thai colleague, who introduced computers in our office, and at that time he was very young, and I look up to him a lot, and his chief is Rajesh Mundra. I remember how he bought the first computer in our office, and I could not do anything more than just sit in front of it and figure everything out. Um, but that's where I started. I went to SMS here in Jaipur, and I then decided I'll go as far away as remote a place I could find, which happened to be Australia. And luckily, the college was amazing. I learned a lot over there, and I continued this sort of deep curiosity that I had about technology and learning. And I did. I started kind of working there once I went there. The first time you start getting jobs, which is one of the things I want to make sure that we tell our kids, that they should start having the sense of earning money, or working, or earning their pocket money early in their lives. We sometimes insulate our kids from that. But this habit of earning your pocket money and earning should come very early in life. But I started in college. I started doing stock taking jobs, this kind of small jobs. I was lucky enough to be um, employed for a year while I was working. And I found a job there in Australia itself, which was very, very good. But after 1 year of doing that job in Australia, I felt that this lifestyle in Australia is a little too laid back. Australia is an amazing country. A lot of smart people there that we don't think we know, but there are a lot of smart people there. But also the lifestyle is not very ambitious. They're not very ambitious people. And I figured that if I stick around in Australia for long, I'll be like a beach bum after a few years. So Y2K was happening, India was hot, and I decided to leave that and come to India. And I started working in a small startup that I found in Bangalore. I think I was employee number 12 or something over there, and I helped, move physical computers from one office to the other. And you do everything when the company is small. And that's another small message, if there is that when you are working in a very small company, you should not be shy from doing anything. You should be open to making tea, as well as installing the computer. Things that you think you're too big for, there's nothing like it. You have to, and you must. But somehow I don't know, it did not fit my style of working in Bangalore. And after some sort of negative experience personally, with an accident and all that, I decided that Bangalore isn't the right place for me. That company that I was used to work for in Australia decided that they want to call me back, but I said I don't want to go to Australia. So they said, well, I don't know, but have you heard of this company called Reliance? And I said, yeah, this is a small company, right? They said, look, they're doing something called in Reliance Infocom. They are trying to launch some mobile phones or something. This is year 2001. And they would, maybe we are doing a project for them. We are installing their billing system. It could be a big project. Why don't you jump onto that project? And you can be in Bombay. At that time, it was kind of amazing for me. I jumped at that opportunity. I had to train myself while my company was training their staff on what the software that we built was, because it was a big company. There were other software. So I learned the software that we were selling along with Reliance Infocom employees. And I got to live in a hotel there, which was very exciting for a while. And I got involved in the launch of Reliance Infocom. I was deeply involved in how they built the billing system, how they connected to CRM and all that. And for the next 2 years, while it was being launched, all the way up to late 2003, I was involved in Reliance Infocom launch. But shortly after, transferred to Anil Ambani, and now we know that Mukesh can do these things twice, the world's largest projects. But my journey as an entrepreneur hadn't yet started. I knew I had it in me, but my journey was still of an employee. But I moved on from there to becoming a consultant. So I dropped my job, and I said I'll become an independent consultant, which means that I had to hunt for every opportunity, hunt for every contract. And luckily, well, or let's say I maybe downplay things, but I found a contract in Thailand where I moved for 6 months. And after that project at Hutch, I moved. I found another project for myself in Berlin, in Germany. I moved there for 6 months, and that project was with MBT, Mahindra British Telecom at that time. Um, Again, like I got lucky. I did good work, and that company wanted to work with me directly, take MBT out. So that started a long relationship with this company in Germany, NextNet. And also kind of then after that, I got an opportunity to work in Sweden for Tele2, which is one of the very large pan-European mobile operators. And at that time in Stockholm, I got the opportunity to actually supply other contractors to them. So my journey had now moved from being an employee to being an independent consultant to now being like a consultancy providing other consultants. And that continued for many years. I moved from Sweden back to Bangalore. I moved back to Australia. I traveled the world again, and then my wife got sick of me. And she said that I can't keep moving along with you all those places. I want to move back to this lovely place you're from called Jaipur. And so we moved in 2000, I think it was 8 or 7 or something, 8, 9. I can't recall. We moved back to Jaipur because, why not? And at that stage, I continued doing this consultancy work, was growing really fast. But being back in Jaipur, I wanted to start a software company where I was actually building product. And at that time, scratching your own itch. This is another life lesson, which is in essence saying that you must build something that you understand, or build something that is where the domain knowledge will be readily available, where the users of what you're going to build are going to be invested in you, in helping you shape this product whatever you think you're building. So I started building software for local businesses. My family itself was a good playground. My cousins' family were also good playground on where they would help me build something that they needed. So we built salary.com, which is a payroll for small businesses. Built this thing called Rise Money, which is a end-to-end NBFC platform. All the way from the time you get a lead for your loans to the time the loan gets paid off, including accounts. So I built that. I built another thing called Accountaneous for accounting and approval process within the small company. And all of this was being built as web software, right? I was using this thing called Ruby, which is a programming language, again, sort of a little out there language. And my problem was we built good software. Some of that software, by the way, after all these years, is still running, and some customers still sort of not letting me shut it. But it was a little bit way ahead of my time, right? Most of the times I went to sell this thing, I got walked out because people said कि भाई CD दे दे 500 रुपए की अगर है, उससे ज़्यादा ये सब इंटरनेट वगैरह सब चलेगा नहीं, इंटरनेट चलता ही नहीं है, और इस पे हम अपना डेटा तुम्हारे इंटरनेट पर डाल दें और हैं. So there was a lot of distrust, and I said, look, internet is only going to become faster, it's going to become cheaper, it's going to be everywhere, and the future is on the internet, and I'm asking you for SaaS revenue. So SaaS also is another word that I had to explain to people, which is to say that I won't charge you one time, I will charge you every month. So मैं कहीं नहीं भागने वाला. अगर मेरे सॉफ्टवेयर से आप dissatisfied हो, तो अगले महीने में जब लेने आऊंगा पैसे आपसे, तो आप मेरे को चिल्ला देना, मेरे को बता देना कि ये चल नहीं रहा है, इसको ठीक करो, मेरे तो कर. So I'll be forever tied with you. Only a few people bought this thing that I was selling, and they're still around, and they still haven't found something which is as good for them as this thing. But I was definitely floundering, and I did not feel successful. So this is a little bit of a sort of a longish introduction to your question. Oh, you are on mute.
You're
Ravi,
doing.
you're on mute.
Sorry. Thanks, Aditya. And in fact, my first computer was given by Rajesh in 1992. Maybe Bizicon was the only company in Jaipur at that point of time. So a lot of people might be their first customers as well, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
after all this journey, how did you come around co-founding Punch? So that's where how did the Punch start? Where did you punch it up?
Yeah, so look, this is again another life lesson along the way. When opportunity knocks, you have to open the door, right? Usually, what would have happened is that we don't actually recognize that we are floundering. We don't always recognize that we are floundering in a big way, right? So our normal instinct is to persevere, which means that when आपदा आएगी तो आप और गड़ जाओ उसके अंदर. Like you have to kind of persevere, and you have to struggle, and if you do hard work and continue, something good will definitely come out of it. And there is no such guarantees, right? By the way, another small message is that there is nothing from people's autobiographies that you can follow and become. I've learned that. Otherwise, you can read like Bill Gates' autobiography and you can become Bill Gates. You followed his life story, right? But everybody's life story is different. And you can't follow my life story or somebody else's life story and think that, अगर वो उस रास्ते पे चला तो मैं भी उस रास्ते पे चलूंगा तो वही होगा, right? ऐसा नहीं होता है. Sabke circumstances different, everybody's situations are different, everybody's resources are different, everybody's timing is different, the world is different. There's so many different variables that you can't really follow somebody's life and achieve the same result. All you can do, however, there are certain tips and tricks that turn out to be true for most people in most situations. And if you catch on to them, then you mold them to your case. In my case, I realized that I was failing. And it's very important for entrepreneurs to know that they are failing and to accept it, not like a bad thing, but to accept that they're failing. I was 100% failing. I was not able to sell the things that I was building. And that's a failure. So at that time, I just happened to receive an email from somebody called Jitendra in the US who said that, I need some programmer to help me fix some stuff on some software that they were building. It was basically a call for a freelancer to come help doing some consulting work for them. And I said, I'll reply back to this email because it's coming from Cupertino, which Cupertino, by the way, is where Apple was. And I was very fascinated with obviously an email coming from anywhere even close in that vicinity. So I responded to Jitendra simply because he was from Cupertino. And I spoke to him on the phone afterwards, and I asked him, how did he discover me? And he said, your name was listed in some Twitter list that I was looking for, and you happen to be from Jaipur, and my family is from Pilani, so hum log dono Rajasthani hai, to maine, after this whole list, I called you, and I have the biggest hopes that you will do something. So I said, I have my own set of programmers. I'm building my own product. I have, in fact, 3-4 products I have, all Ruby on Rails. But, I didn't tell him that I was floundering immediately. And I said, देखते हैं आप दिखाओ क्या काम है, शायद कुछ ऐसे ही help कर दूं मैं आपको. So in that conversation, he said, okay, I'll give you access to the source code, which he readily gave. I looked at the source code and I was shocked कि इतना खराब इतना सड़ा हुआ प्रोग्रामिंग हुआ हुआ है इसके अंदर तो. Obviously, because Jitendra and Shyam are not programmers, but the hustle they had was to build something even though they don't have any skills. So another lesson over here is when you're small, you have to do everything, which means that you can't crib that I don't have programming skills. So I will look for a programmer before I take the first step. So Shyam did a lot of programming. Shyam is not a programmer. Jitendra is from IIT, but he's not a programmer. But they both hustled and built something. Okay. Even if it was bad, they built something. उन्होंने कुछ खड़ा किया, and that's very important. And then when they found me, I looked at it. I thought this is so much opportunity. So when you look at something bad, it's not always just bad. It's also an opportunity for you to fix, right? So another in essence, the lesson is that you must find an opportunity where you see there is obviously sort of nothing. But anyway, we took that forward. They gave me a small task, which I did it in a very short period of time. They thought it would take months. And I happened to be going to the US for a holiday that summer. And so I changed my plans and I went over to Jitender's house. And Jitender invited me. So me and my wife, Vasudha, we went over to Jitender's house. We lived in his daughter's bedroom because his daughter and his family was traveling to India for their holidays. And for a whole month, we lived in his kid's bedroom and we hacked in his garage.
Wow.
On his kid's little chair I used to sit in, like dupakke aise karke. And we kind of hacked for a whole month together. And we was basically dating each other. It was to figure out whether we can work with each other or not. And at the end of that month, I said, I will absolutely do work with you guys. I will work with you because this is a lot of joy for me. This whole sense of garage hacking in the valley was something I got to experience, and it was amazing. And it was like, okay, ये अगर मैंने लोगों के साथ पढ़ा था कि लोगों ने hacking करी थी और ये हुआ वो ये मेरे साथ हो रहा है, and it is actually a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
And I said I want to be a part of this venture. There were just two people at that time. Shastri was in and out. And I said that I will definitely be a part of Punchh if you make me a co-founder, because this is a very early stage you are at. I also want CTO title because अभी तो 3 लोग हैं, तो अभी तो मैं सारा टेक हैंडल करूंगा, तो मेरे को CTO बनाओ. और मैं और भी ज्यादा क्लेवर सोच रहा था अपने आप को, तो मैंने सोचा कि देखो मैं co-founder बनूंगा तुम्हारे साथ, CTO बनूंगा, और I will take exactly the same salary that you guys are going to pull. So I don't want to feel that I'll be screwed out of the salary because I was going to live in India. So I said कि जो भी तुम लोग salary निकालोगे कंपनी से, मेरे को equal salary मिलनी चाहिए. And I was like, मैं तो अपने दिमाग में इतना ज्यादा शातिर आदमी कहाँ से आ गया ये. I was so proud of myself, and I was so stupid because another life lesson is at startup, you don't negotiate your salary at that level. You negotiate equity. So I was happily satisfied with a smaller chunk of the equity on day one. Not obviously nothing, but it was definitely in hindsight you'd negotiate for a much bigger one. But anyway, we got started, and that's the sort of origin story for me and Punchh. And at that time, we were selling loyalty programs door to door, essentially Castro Street and Mountain View mein. So we used to go walk down that street and pick up every restaurant and go inside and try and sell. This is our loyalty program. Aap kharido, le lo ye mobile phone pe chalega, aise chalega, waise chalega. So from selling to door to individual pizza chains, pizza stores, to then getting Pizza Hut, Papa John's, Little Caesars as our customers, which is the largest pizza chain in the world in a span of the story of Punchh, is somewhere where a lot of success tips and tricks are there.
So you have got co-founders, and so what was the common factor binding all of you together working on this? I mean, what made you all stick together through the tough times? I'm sure you must have seen some tough times as well, right?
Yeah, of course.
So what
So
was,
look,
yeah.
between me and my co-founders, there was nothing common. So we do not have any family connection. We do not have any alumni connection. I did not have any previous work colleagues. Agar LinkedIn pe jate, to between us, there were, the degree of separation would be like 3 or 4 or something. I don't know. We had no common connections, really. And so there was a lot of trust, right? It's a lot of blind trust. And I don't know if this is a lesson I want to give to anybody, but this blind trust really worked well for me. I never distrusted them कि वो ऐसा कर लेगा मेरे साथ, it'll backstab me or this is that, or they thought that this guy is going to not deliver. So we had a lot of blind trust among each other. We also had very, very clear circles of influence in the company, right? I don't know how it worked out, but there was. Like when it came to technology, I was making all the decisions. When it came to product, to a certain degree, I was very deeply involved in it. When it came to business, I was very deeply listening to what they had to say. And when it came to strategy, I was very deeply a listener of some things that were emergent at that time, right? And so they could focus on strategy and customers and selling, and I could focus on product building and technology and going live and all of those things. And that really helped uh, make us move faster. We weren't really fighting with each other कि मेरे को ये करना है और वो सोचता है कि उसको वो करना है, right? But one of the things in a product company is product market fit, which is in essence, are you building something that somebody finds useful or not? And for us to find the product market fit took a long time. But we were surviving because again, like cost of technology was very low and we were building fast and all of those things. The advantages of me being in Jaipur was a reason why we could go for longer in the company. And in 2015, after trying many things, we became bankrupt. We had no money to pay our employees in 2015. We had taken angel funding by then. We were not able to raise money, which is another thing that I'll talk about. And through a change of CEOs and sort of board having their say and our own inability to kind of execute on certain aspects means that we were failing big time. Again, we had to realize we were failing, right? It's really odd, really, really odd. Don't listen to what we did over there. It's a negative lesson as well. Is we were very willing to kind of shut down the company in 2015. We were fighting with our board to say that, shut this thing down because if there is no money, then, you're just dragging us out. And we would really think that you should shut down the company. And our board at that time had more faith sometimes than us. And they said, no, this company, whatever you built is worth it. You guys have some leadership challenges, need to fix those things maybe. This company needs to continue. Really, it doesn't happen that often that the board thinks you won't continue and the founders think you should shut. But through that sort of a tumultuous period, one of our co-founders left the company. I do value him and his friendship, and he's thankful now that we've exited. But through a change of leadership, we found another one of our co-founders to lead the company as a CEO, and the rest is history. Because from that moment onwards, we were growing by leaps and bounds. And so another sort of small lesson for everybody is that the person in the company who knows how to sell should automatically be the CEO, in my opinion. Okay, if you are the product guy, you should not be the CEO. If you are the technical guy, you should not be the CEO. If you are the money guy, maybe you should not be the CEO. But if you are the seller, if you can sell, if you sell and you sell all day long, you should be the CEO. It should be company should be led by people who know how to sell. And if you don't have that ability, find a co-founder and support them when they are CEO. So I support my best friend, Sham Rao. He's an amazing salesman. He's an amazing product guy as well. And he is a true entrepreneur. While growing up with him, I still have a lot of things to learn from him. So I have deepest respect for him because he's the one who took it from nothing to where we are all at Punchh. Lots of other sort of stories there on how we started the Jaipur office and all of that. But yeah, that's.
So end of the day, the kahani व्यक्ति है भाई. Kahani story, the story
storytelling.
Right?
Yeah,
storytelling. Right? Yeah. Great man, great. So between 2010 where you started and 2015 you got into a tough time, right? So those are the 5 years, and then you had a jump to the next level, right? So I'm sure a lot of time you must have changed the business model and pivoted the ideas, So one question, of course, you answered in terms of so A, how did you find the right market fit? Which is the right market fit, and how long it really took you to get the right model, how many models, if you can just understand numbers which you changed.
Yeah, so look, I mean, when we started, we built one app which is called Punchh, and we listed all the restaurants in it, एंड वी सेड कि जैसे ही आप किसी भी लोकेशन के पास जाओगे तो जीपीएस से हम उस लोकेशन का कार्ड जो है लॉयल्टी कार्ड वो ऐप पे दिख जाएगा and all the loyalty programs or all the businesses are in the same app. Yeah, so दो पिज्जा चेन्स हैं या दो बर्गर प्लेसेस हैं तो दोनों ये आसपास ही लिस्टेड है, right? And so our model was totally screwed up. It was called the network model, where you list businesses in something, and that's a screwed up model. Um, so I was like, so that did not work. Okay, and we said that there is another problem. Um, no, we decided that we need to go corporate, and so we went to a large corporate, and it was very hard. But eventually, we got meeting with our first corporate, which is a company called Rita's Ice, which sells ice cream all across America. You probably haven't heard of it, but they're big. And they said, of course, we'll work with you, but what the hell? We are not going to work on this app that you have. You have to build an app for us, right? So what does that mean? Like, it means that we as a loyalty system would have to build an app for them, and their app would have only their loyalty program and only their customer base. Okay, and they would be paying good money for that. And so first thing that clicked to us was that if you want to make money in this space, in loyalty programs, you have to go towards engagement, and then you have to give the customer to this brand if the brand is willing to pay for it, right? So we had to kind of then change our model and say, oh shit, we are not going to build one app. We'll have to build one app per customer. Okay, that's a hard thing to do, because remember, this is 2013, so maybe this still the initial years of app building, right? App stores and all those things that come out in 2008, 9, and initial set of apps were not available 2009, and so we were still in early years of app building, and app building was hard, right? Building apps for iOS, Android was a hard thing to do. And we already had one app, but now our customers expected us to build one app for every one of them, right? Each one of them gets a new app. So very quickly, while everybody was satisfied with building one app or struggling with building one app, our challenge was to build one app per customer. And this such is the audacity of entrepreneurs or whatever, is that we said, fine, we'll do it. There was nothing that we couldn't do. My co-founders had such cruel faith in me. They said कि आदित्य को दे देंगे, वो कर लेगा, बोल देंगे उसको कि सारी apps बनानी है तेरे को. And so we did that, and I was so foolish. I always agree to yes to everything. Yes man की तरह. I said yes. I didn't know what a world of pain I was taking, but eventually, these things pay off. We also did another very hard thing, Ravi. We started integrating with point of sale, because another lesson we learned was that you have to integrate at the point of sale. And point of sale are very, very closed systems. It's very difficult to break through it. That was a total hustle on a part of one of our employees, Ernst. He hacked his way into how the POS works and communicates, and got us in the middle of that process. And it was a little gray area whether it was legal or not, but we did it anyway, and we did it, and we went to customers who loved it. And then the company, the point of sale company, did not like it, and they wanted to charge us large fees, but the customer said, no, what these guys have done is amazing. And they legalized what we had done clearly, and they extracted a lot of money out of it. So another lesson is, sometimes there are these artificial rules that you'll come across while you're building product, and you'll have these artificial constraints. And if you choose to accept them, then it's your loss. But as an entrepreneur, you need to not accept all these rules. It's like, ये rule तो गलत है, मैं तो नहीं accept करता, हम तो नहीं करेंगे accept, हम नहीं करते, हम तो कर लेंगे, देखते हैं क्या होता है. ठीक है, कस्टमर को अगर वैल्यू मिल गई तो फिर देख लेंगे, कस्टमर ही हमारी को हेल्प करेगा. So another sort of a lesson here is just kind of hustle, right? Just break the rules if you need to, not break the law, but break rules which are artificial.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of model, once we had switched from serving one app to corporate, then the other model change that happened was another very interesting thing, is when we said that we are going to work with only large corporates. Okay. And so this concept came out was a Napoleon complex. So क्या होता है कि small businesses have a Napoleon complex. They are actually very small, and they extract a lot from a software developer or software provider or a technology provider where they're not able to actually pay for anything. So they expect and loud, but they don't pay. So for us, we decided that we want to work with large corporates because the large corporates had better systems in place and they were going to give us better visibility. So at some stage, we started focusing only on large clients, and the customer DNA has to, the business DNA, the company DNA has to change to say, okay, we are only going to work with this. There's certain type of energy you'll only put towards sales to large corporates and all that. So in terms of model change, this is maybe there's three things I will say.
Okay. A quick short question over here. You were used to sell loyalty programs, right?
Yeah.
How brand loyal are you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very, very brand loyal.
Is it?
I will sign up to every airline loyalty program. I will sign up to most loyalty programs just because I want to see what the mechanics of those loyalty programs are. I kid you not, Ravi. Over the last 10 years, I have built all sorts of loyalty programs. There's not one type of loyalty program, right? There are nuances. Every loyalty program is different. Some is visit based, like Punchh based. Punchh ka naam comes from the punch, right? Like the punch in a card.
Okay.
With a double edge.
Okay.
And then there are spend based, there is surprise and delights. We've built every kind of loyalty program. I would be immodest and say that, when it comes to loyalty programs and how they work and how redemptions work and how you engage users to bring them back to your brand, I am in a lucky spot to be one of the probably in the top few people in the world who know how loyalty programs should work.
Great, man, great. So, Aditya, you are coming from a family of entrepreneurs, right? This new world, we talk about the first generation entrepreneur, the second generation entrepreneurs, and then the serial entrepreneur. Not the one who has a cereal for the breakfast every morning, but the serial like you becoming a serial now, selling Punch and starting Godly, right? So I'm just trying to understand what kind of mindset do you think needs to change? Because I think Jaipur is a city or Rajasthan has an ecosystem where we thrive on, we take proud on being a second, third, fourth generation entrepreneurs, right? Which is not the new world. So do you see a mindset change?
No, I don't know if I see a mindset change, but frankly speaking, a serial entrepreneur is many generations in the same lifetime, right? A serial entrepreneur has to understand that the business is not something that you build to give to your kids, that you identify yourself and your family name with, but it's a business that needs to create value for the customers, and then it must transfer into hands of people who are better equipped to run it. You can own it, but you have to run it, right? We mix running and owning in the same thing. So what we have to do is to create business value, create systems, create good products, have good DNA, and then learn how to delegate and move on to the next one. So that's my philosophy. I when I joined Punchh, I knew that I was going to be an employee. I knew that I will have HR on my head one day. I'll have to follow company travel policy. That it's not that I won't make my wife as a director and full salary for her. So we don't treat these businesses as our home businesses, but we treat these businesses as responsible businesses as they really should be treated, right? And so first and second generation is family businesses, I would say, and good for them. I definitely come from that. Everywhere around me is only family business, generational businesses that get passed on. But now I'm seeing that some people are trying to do different kind of things. So to each their own. Like, I mean, there's no one way or a right way or wrong way. My DNA is not to own businesses forever. It's just not my temperament. And I like to own businesses, create value, and have an end date for my involvement in it.
So when you say value, what is the valuation game? Tell us about the valuation game, right? How did you value your company when exiting, and which is the right time, and for how much one should exit?
So look, I mean, valuation game is very simple in my book. The valuation comes from people who are giving the money. So अगर आप पैसा दे रहे हो तो आप वैल्यू करो, मैं क्या वैल्यू करूंगा? हाँ, और अगर मेरे को अच्छा नहीं लगता आपने जो दाम लगाया है तो मैं मना कर दूंगा. अगर सारे कस्टमर पैसे देने वाले चले गए तो मैं अपनी एक्सपेक्टेशन चेंज कर दूंगा. But it's very simple. Like, I mean, it's the investor who looks at what you're doing and sees the world from their own lenses and finds that there is something for them to invest. Right? VCs are looking for multiples of 1x, 10x, 5x, 9x, 100x. I don't know, whatever. They're looking for exponential and growth, and they're looking for that much value that will be created because they see world from a different lens. They think that the world is changing, and these are the companies that are going to disrupt. And if there's a disruption, then there will be a lot of value creation, and so we are willing to do that. So I don't want to get into the conversation of why startups are valuations are so high and they make losses. That is a trivial thing.
Correct.
I don't know why anybody should be concerned why some company is making loss. आपका पैसा नहीं है, वो investor का पैसा, और investor actually founder को बोल रहा है कि खबरदार अगर तुम profit की तरफ भी आए तो, because you should be spending your money on growing the customer base, because that's what we need. We need to disrupt the market. What is this bloody profit you are asking for? That's my call. I'll ask you for profit when the time is right. For now, you go and make a loss and demand that loss from you. So nobody's bleeding, and the VCs were going to make a lot more money, and they do. So that's a valuation game for us. It was a valuation of 10x of our revenue, and it's very simple. We were making around $50 million a year. That doesn't mean we were making $50 million in profit. We were just making $50 million of revenue a year, and somebody thought that 10x of that is a reasonable way to value Punchh. And for us to realize that for the next journey of Punchh, we required a house, a partner, a parent that would mean that collectively much bigger value could be created than us doing everything alone. And again, me and Sham were very cognizant of what we are doing. And I obviously took a break in August 2020 with Godly, which I'm sure we're going to talk about now. But Sham executed this thing with wonderful precision, and the outcome is great for all employees. Its outcome is great for our investors. The outcome is definitely great for our founders. We're seriously satisfied, and Punchh continues in better hands.
So now, which all this money which you have got, with you, and you want to invest into a lot of places, I'm sure you would like to become an angel investor now, or maybe starting a fund. So what is your real call on the angel? So two questions over here connected. When you're talking to startups, and I'm sure a lot of startups are hearing us today, mentors, and angel investment, right? How much value how much are they important for a startup or any entrepreneur for that matter?
Look, I mean, we had angels who helped us, and angels are angels because they can give money to you and forget about it in some ways. Okay, if you're that means you're really that angel who comes with wings, just gives you something and goes away, and then it's fine. It's great. I think I don't know as professional angel investors if people are still yet in India making money. I know in the US they are, but I don't know if in India they are still making money. I have good examples. I've heard some people have, but I don't know if it's still like a big thing. So I have played around with being an angel investor, but it's a learning opportunity. If you think you want to understand how startups and technology and all these places work, and you have money to spare, please bless some startups with your cash. They will forever remember you, and you may learn something from their journey as you walk along with them. It's not I don't know yet if it's a way for any wealthy person to make a lot of money in India on angel investing. I could be wrong, but that's just my call. And I would say use this as an educational tool.
Okay. So we have all heard about the monk who sold his Ferrari, right? So I'm seeing a monk in front of me with all this beard coming up, right? So my question is now, this transformation of yours, after getting all this money, so were you wanting to, क्या आप वानप्रस्थ की तरफ जाते जाते godly पे आए क्या? I mean, was it a वानप्रस्थ side or
मैं तो बहुत ही materialistic आदमी हूँ. I
is,
love the comforts of this world. I'm also a very modern, forward-looking type of person. I believe that future is better. I believe that technology is going to make future better. I don't think. I think we should learn from the mistakes of the past. I'm that kind of a person. I'm a very
So
technology
so
loving, technology is going to solve the future problems kind of a person. I don't think technology creates problems, it solves problems. It's just my outlook of
yeah.
life. More often than not, it's not a blanket statement for everything. There are bad technology and there was good things in the past. Those things are obviously true. But general outlook is leaning towards the technology is better. But look, I'm also definitely, ये दाढ़ी जो है, this is all opportunity of playing around with your looks during
COVID times, right?
lockdown.
Lockdown.
Nobody can see you and you can try all these things out. But
Yeah, but the story
uh,
sells, huh? The story sells.
story sounds.
No,
So
no,
it just
no, no.
happens.
Yeah. So I'll say now the monk who bought a Ferrari now, instead of the
Yeah.
sold a Ferrari, right? With all the money,
Huh.
maybe you will be buying a Ferrari very soon, right? So I remember last year when we spoke during these time in the lockdown, and you called me up and said, "Ravi, I have a $1 billion idea," right?
Yeah.
So that point of time, I didn't know कि आपने half a billion तो पहले earn कर लिया है, and you have $1 billion idea. So
Yeah.
godly, that's your $1 billion idea, right?
Yeah.
About
So
this
look,
godly,
this
what do you
is
say
this is.
about that? Yeah.
I'm so excited about it because when we were discussing this idea just after the first set of lockdown, it kind of wrapping up, and I had a uncle who came over home, and we were just spitballing ideas. We have this wonderful thing that we start like kids imagining things and start talking about ideas just like they mean nothing, right? And you just say, yeah, yes, hoga, aisa hoga, fir aisa hoga, aisa bhi ho jayega. And that kind of sort of imagination and is a good thing, life lesson. Just do that. Just be a child and think wild, right? So out of that idea, he said कि I could not visit some temples. वो चूलगिरी जाते हैं जैन है. तो ऐसे ही हमने आइडिया सोचने लगे कि अरे लड्डू मिल जाएगा, ऐप के थ्रू हो जाएगा, स्विगी बन जाएगा. ऐसे ऐसे करते करते कुछ something started, and that should have been the end of it. But I could not sleep for the next 3-4 days. Like it was just like it was really crazy. I was not getting sleep because this idea was growing in my head that what if we could aggregate temples and put them into an app, and all these devotees who can't go to temples right now, and hell, it's not just about COVID, meaning you can't visit your local temple. You always desire to go to temples that are too far from you, or there are various reasons why you can't go to temples. So how about we make that experience and bring that temple closer by aggregating it from everywhere, and building an app that aggregates temples, and then everything else you do in a temple you could also do in the app, or replicate that, donations or marketplace. And then we started thinking wild again. What if you get points or loyalty programs in life है? So karma points मिलेंगे, उसका redemption मिलेगा आपको, कैसे मिलेगा? You'll be like a platinum level Krishna Bhakta or something, which means that if you go to any Krishna temple, then maybe they look at you differently or give you some privileges. It's a little crazy. I was thinking, who knows if it'll stick or not? But then, again, the enthusiasm of an entrepreneur, the infectious sort of enthusiasm and optimism of an entrepreneur is, and some inherent ability to take unnatural risk. So from me earning a lot of good money and Punch and being successful and being the boss of a lot of people, running 3 offices, ye wo bakwas, I was saying, nahi, abhi to ye godly karna padega. So I took a sabbatical and I said, okay, I have to do this godly thing. And we again, like this is early years. We haven't seen devotion and technology ka intersection nahi hua hai abhi tak. And so I have sitting on at least 20 different ideas that I'll play with in this space.
Wow. Wow. So I was just going through both your websites of Godly and Punch as well, right? So there were two taglines which I picked up. The Punch said loyalty redefined. That's number one. And the Punch also says brands need to build one-to-one connections. Now, coming to the godly world, we are always loyal to the gods which we follow. And सब लोग सब साधु जितने दाढ़ी वाले हैं हम सब वो सब बोलते हैं let's make a one connection with the God. So this entire story of godly was in your subconscious mind while you were working in Punch, or did it help? And what is your experience which is helping in making godly what it is today?
Look, I mean, the answer is very simple. I mean, while my faith is which is a personal thing, but I do understand the mindset and psychology of what a devotee would want, and how technology can help them get some satisfaction. So devotees are looking for hope, looking for satisfaction in their own way. And if I can help using technology, bring that closer, I'll be successful. So one of the metrics I had in mind was, in this app, when people look at Aarti, they should get the feeling कि कुछ real है, इसमें value है, and they should, take the phone and put there in their head like this. And this is exactly what I was told by one of my users कि जब भी वो सुबह आरती देखते हैं ऐप के अंदर तो ऐसे लगा लेते हैं सर पे, right? I'm not saying कि this is right or wrong, but in essence they are finding some value in what we are building. And so I don't know if it was in me. It was definitely not a conscious thing in me. Okay. But I do understand engagement. Okay, I understand customer engagement is the bedrock of how value will be created for businesses in the future. And I understand that deeply on how that will be used as well. So it's not really understand. Like, for example, a learning in this whole space is, you don't keep the temple and the deity at the center of the business. You have to keep the devotee at the center of the business. Wow. And if you do that, then you are differentiating and you're creating long-term value, because you will always be satisfying what the devotee needs and not how the temple needs to be devoted to.
Right. I think a lot of people are centering it towards the devotee, the temple side, right?
Yeah.
So the devotee side, right? Conventionally. So this digital devotion, aren't we all today devoted to the digital era? I mean, everybody day in, day out. So how much screen time do you want us to devote to godly from our entire
minutes.
day? 15 minutes? And you are a special timer which can overrule the entire story.
नहीं भाई, आरती कितनी देर तक देखोगे आप?
अच्छा, ठीक
कर
है.
लो ना पूजा, बस 15 मिनट, दिन भर थोड़ी ना देखना है उसको.
Okay.
15 minutes, time well spent, Ravi. It's not about spending all your time, it's just time well spent.
And I remember you were telling me yesterday, I mean, if I'm doing a puja on godly, right? So मैंने गणेश जी को कौन से फूल चढ़ाने हैं, so you are doing the entire content management at the back end in terms of
educational tool हो जाता है ना. So how to do devotion properly, so that you learn, right? So अगर आप अकेले बैठे हो तो कुछ भी चढ़ा दोगे. अब गणेश जी को इस तरह के फूल नहीं चढ़ते हैं, ये कौन बताएगा आपको? आपने ट्राई किया तो आपको बोल देगी ये तो आप गलत करो, रुक जाओ.
So Aditya, we have got lots of questions coming up. So before that, some rapid fire questions quickly to you, right?
Okay.
What kind of organization structure do you follow? And lean, flat, or hierarchy and delegated? And how many people do report to you?
So it's a lot of delegation, but it's not just delegation, it's a lot of enablement. So I follow enablement. The less things I have to do in the day and the more time I allow myself to watch Netflix, that's successful. So delegate and enable is my style. I am very organized. And
how many people report to you?
Abhi तो एक. इतनी छोटी सी टीम में भी. पहले I had about 5 people.
Okay, next question. We have heard till now the board and investors are very, very important, right? But what is the key to success of an organization, the customers or employees?
Look, a product company is a product market fit. Everybody else will tell you it's the employees, but every business has to have good employees. Which business can you have with bad employees and you'll be successful? Or which business will have no customers and you'll succeed? So those are given. Those are standards for every business. But for a product company to really succeed, given all the common things that everybody else also needs, it has to be product market fit. You have to build something. The
product is for the customer, right? Eventually the customer is the king.
हाँ, and product उस customer को उसमें से value निकलनी चाहिए, उसको value लगना चाहिए कि इसमें से मेरे को value मिल रही है. या तो आप सस्ता बेच रहे हो उसके लिए good है, या उसको कुछ ऐसा कर रहे हो वो वैसे कर नहीं पाएगा. So in one way or the other, they must derive value from it, and it's a constant strive for looking for what your customer gets value out from.
So what time of the day is the most right time for generating ideas? Before the godly puja
shower.
Or after the godly puja?
Shower.
Achha. Okay. I'm sure you're not running out of your shower, right?
Maybe I have to fight because that's the one sin I have is long showers and it's not good for us, you know.
No, but that's the idea generating part. I mean, you generate
हाँ,
billion-dollar
this
ideas over in the
investment
shower.
है, investment
So
है.
investment, I get the best shower also, right? You have very diversified interest tracking, photography, cars, traveling, social media, multiple geographies, So how do you manage that? Do you do meditation or just the godly devotion?
तो meditation तो अभी सीखना पड़ेगा. दाढ़ी बढ़ा ली है, तो it has to go with that. But it's really I'm very bohemian in that respect. I readily waste a lot of time because you don't know where ideas are going to come from. It definitely doesn't come from a routine. Okay, if you think idea is going to come exactly at 5 o'clock in the morning and you wake up exactly at 5 o'clock in the morning, I think ideas won't come then. So you have to live somewhat of a free lifestyle, and you don't know what tomorrow is going to be like. So I'm again not a big schedule routine guy.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. I mean, good. So one more question I wanted to ask before we open up for the audience, right? A personal question. We have seen you changing every time, right? So change is the most important constant in your life,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
What
Gathering stone, rolling stone gathers no moss. So I don't want to know and predict what tomorrow is going to be like. I just want to roll with it. I'll deal
right.
with it, and I welcome change.
So भाई एक चीज और पूछ रहा हूँ with all the stress and all the selling to the restaurants and all that food pictures coming up on your screen every point of time, how did you manage to maintain
Find
and
it.
lose this kind of weight?
Oh, yeah, I didn't. I didn't. I gained a lot of weight.
नहीं
I
नहीं
was a very fat and unhealthy person. But something clicked 2 years ago, and I became. My diabetes shot up a lot, and I seeked some help, and I maintained some discipline for some time, and I'm proud of it. I lost a lot of weight, and last few months I've gained it back, but it's okay.
so you're not loyal to your customers, you don't go out and eat from their restaurants, right, to maintain weight?
हाँ, I can't eat from my restaurants. एक तो सारे के सारे US के अंदर हैं,
जब
तो
यूएस में
वो
इतने
एक तो
कपड़े
advantage है.
So anyway, I think it's time to take the questions now. Aditya, can you just take the questions we have? Can
Yeah,
you see on the screen?
yeah. So one of the questions Tushar asked early up was, how did I find my first set of employees? I hustled bad, Tushar. मैं जब स्टार्ट कर रहा था राइजिंग सन, मेरे को ऐसा डर लगता था, कांपता था कि मेरे साथ कौन काम करेगा. आई एम अ सिंगल पर्सन सिटिंग इन जयपुर in this weird office, who's going to work. So what I did was I did complete hustle, and I placed a huge ad in the newspaper, much bigger for a company of my size, and I called every single person who applied to that large ad at the same time in a large hall, because I wanted everybody to feel कि बहुत बड़ी चीज होने वाली है यहाँ पर. हायर तो मुझे करने थे 4-5 लोग, बट मैंने सबको एक साथ बुला लिया और सबको एक दूसरे को इंप्रेशन नहीं मिल गया कि ये तो कंपनी बहुत बड़ा काम होने वाला है यहाँ पर. And then I interviewed those people, and then when I started the company, because my office wasn't made, I ensured that they all started on the same day. अगर एक भी बंदा मेरे को पहले बोलता कि नहीं मैं तो कल ही से ज्वाइन कर लूंगा या एक हफ्ते बाद भी कर लूंगा, मैं नो, नथिंग डूइंग, यू हैव टू जॉइन द डे दैट एवरीबॉडी इज जॉइनिंग. बिकॉज ऐसा नहीं लगना चाहिए किसी को भी कि कंपनी स्टार्ट होने से पहले कि मैं तो यहाँ पर 2-3 ही लोग हैं. So when the company, on the first day of the company, was the first day for all my employees, and at that day they saw, okay, this is there are many people. So that's a small story about finding your own niche, man. You have to do some selling. There has to be some superpower you will need to have.
Yeah, so can you take up the questions, Aditya, or should I speak them out for you?
हाँ नहीं, अभी ढूंढना पड़ेगा सर. Maybe for interest of time, maybe you can ask.
So yeah, there's a question coming up. Would you still be interested in a position of CTO in a shared mobility startup?
No.
No. Okay. How should Priyanshi, how should you start in early stage thing of funding? How should a startup in early stage of funding? क्या है ये? How should a startup in early stage think of funding? Sorry, I think think है.
You need money. Of course, you need money, and at that time again, you need to hustle for money. But you need to spend just an appropriate amount of time You're always raising, and you see, every time you get money, you don't just get money, you also get buy-in from people who are interested in now growing your business, right? So the more people who are interested in growing your business, the more chances you have for success. So raise money, of course, raise money, but not at the expense of building the right product or selling. Um, yeah.
So we have a question. Is your salt and pepper beard look inspired by Virat Kohli? I don't know.
No.
uh, uh,
ऐसा लग रहा है
Anjali
कि
has a
विराट कोहली
question.
जैसा?
नहीं नहीं. Anjali has a question. How one should decide that is his or her startup plan is good to go?
How do you decide whether your startup plan is good to go?
Mm-hmm.
Well, are you should just go and find out. This is not a theoretical exercise that you can deliberate over it. If you think that you're building something of value, then please, by all means, go ahead and try it out in front of customers and learn from there. A customer will tell you whether it's valuable or not. So as soon as you have an idea, sell it. See if somebody buys it. If somebody buys it, build it.
There's a question which many people have asked, Gaurav, Piyush, Taran. Why Bangalore? Why have you moved to Bangalore from Jaipur for
You
God?
have to give your company the best chance of survival. Okay. So while we emotionally attached to Jaipur, the best chance of survival for a struggling company is not is an atmosphere where they'll find the most things. So for us to decide to move to Bangalore was because a lot of VCs are there. For us to be able to hire bigger is there. For us to stumble upon vendors is there. So while Jaipur is great and at an advantage, but you really need to give your company the best chance of survival, which is you have to be in a place where there is a lot available for your company. So I'm always a Jaipuri. I'll always be a Jaipurite, but Godly isn't limited to the Jaipur geography. It needs. I'll be doing it a disservice by just saying it's only a Jaipur thing. And you should not be tied to geography. You should be in the best geography that helps you. You don't owe it anything else to anybody. Um,
No, I think the question which primarily was coming in the perspective that these startups are doing a tech company in Jaipur, right? And so why does a tech company move? Is it because of talent not being here, or
like I said, it's perception. There are so many battles you can fight, and there are
okay?
only so many battles you can win. So if VCs, for example, look at these companies from Jaipur in a certain lens, I can't go and be a revolutionary and say कि नहीं आप तो जयपुर वाली companies को दूसरे lens से देखो. भाई वो नहीं interested है तो I'll lose some opportunities. So being very practical about it. Just I will be based in Bangalore because Bangalore companies have a certain brand, and that's it. You can come and celebrate in Jaipur, you can hire in Jaipur as well, but give the company the struggling chance, or make those choose your battles. मैंने जब Rising Sun start किया था तो मैंने कहा जयपुर से ही करूंगा. जयपुर में मेरे पास एडवांटेज था लोकेशन का और रियल एस्टेट का, ये वो कर लिया तो मैंने कर लिया एडवांटेज. आज की तारीख में I don't strictly need that particular advantage. So yeah.
So Piyush has a question: which aarti do you see daily in morning on Godly?
Siddhivinayak temple I see it
Okay,
nowadays.
okay. So
And by the way, before I answer any other question, you all have to download Godly immediately. You have to go and search for Godly Cloud on the app stores and download and sign up. I'm not answering any more questions unless you do that. You have to hustle, right? You have to get downloads. I've got 80,000 now on Godly and more to go.
wow, they have a question from Sneha. She's asking, "Good evening, sir. I am a college going student right now. I have a startup in my mind, but I couldn't make out the way in establishing it. Is it necessary to have a well-known degree and academic profile?"
No, it's not. Hustle. Find a way. Speak to Ravi. Speak to Tai. There's a lot of help available. There are incubation centers in colleges. They're doing a fantastic job. We have all the help available if you want to start a company. You are not lacking resources. You just need to take the plunge and do it. No excuses.
Somebody has sent a message, another profile for you. You need to change your profile. He says you look like Kunal Kamra.
हाँ, अरे joke सुनाऊं? I do a very good impression of Kunal Kamra.
So, any other questions have we left from just going scrolling? Anybody can raise a hand if there's a question which is unanswered. Paucity of time, we'll have to just quickly take up the last few questions. 1 second.
Hello, Mansingh guide. Thank you for amazing candidates. Design sprint, thinking about dystopian scenario you did it. Rise in the market. Yeah, so this Ria Bandari is asking, do you follow similar speculative design brainstorming practices to come up with product solutions? Yes, absolutely. Break your routine, do something different, and I'll tell you, like, do this. Create a story, all right? And you only do one kaddi of the story, and then you pass the baton on to your friend, and they need to continue the story, and then somebody else needs to continue the story. So you build on stories, and funny things happen, and ideas pop out. Get into this habit. You're sitting in a restaurant, make stories of strangers around you. ये उसका नाम ये है, उसका नाम ये है, ये कर रहा है, ये वो कर रहा है, ये इसकी life story ऐसी है. So imagination hai, just fuel your imagination. When you fuel your imagination, good things will come out. Yeah, break the patterns. Yeah, it's extremely important to imagine.
Great. So there's another question which somebody is
doing a job in abroad has helped you in learning better about businesses in India. All exposure is good exposure, right? I had the advantage. I'm very aware of my privilege. I got the opportunity to go overseas. I had the will and desire to work overseas. And so I have a better understanding of people all over the world. And you should do that. It's not specifically about businesses in India and overseas. It's just awareness and your curiosity about learning about the whole world. We don't have the travel instinct of a tree. Go travel as far and wide, meet different types of people, and get aware.
Vibor has a question. We are in agri-tech startup, and currently we have prepared the successful prototype. Now we are expanding it within Jaipur market in later different cities. So his basic question is, we are not sure how to and how much we should invest in marketing, because as per the level of experience, I'm unable to decide how much we should spend in marketing.
20% कर लो. थोड़ा सा गलत हो गया, थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा होगा बस.
In terms of revenue or the what?
अब मुझे क्या पता, मतलब he's asked a question कि कितना करना चाहिए. I can't answer that question for him, but if it helps, you just need a marker, right?
Correct.
20% कर लो. थोड़ा सा गलत होगा, थोड़ा सा ज्यादा होगा, तो उसको कैलिब्रेट कर लेना. अगर आपको लग रहा है कि मेरे 20% मार्केटिंग करके बहुत ज्यादा स्पेंड हो गया, तो कम कर देना. और ऐसा लग रहा है कि इसके तो बहुत अच्छे रिजल्ट्स आ रहे हैं, तो इंक्रीज कर देना. बट स्टार्ट समवेयर.
Correct.
Right? Don't have all these artificial constraints in your mind कि ये मेरे को पता नहीं है exact number क्या होना चाहिए. 20% ले लो.
What is your struggle mantra for the millenniums?
Huh?
What is your struggle mantra for the millennials?
I'm not a millennial, you know that. I don't know what your struggles are. Probably the struggles are कि आपके पास likes नहीं आए Instagram पर, ये आपका struggle है. I don't know what the struggles for millennials. You guys are very successful. You are teaching us many things. I hope you can teach us more things. I don't know what your struggles are. I wish my daughter is only 4. I don't know. She'll never be a millennial. She'll be some other term.
Nisha has a question. Being an entrepreneur, how to analyze between fake and original customers?
Look, good question. There is no such thing as a fake customer in business. If a customer pays you money, then they're a customer. There's nothing fake about them. And if you are, so we never came across this thing called a fake customer. It's weird. We have lapsing customers who join you but never do anything and lapse. It's your responsibility to engage them again. And great strategies about that. So, yeah. Great, no customers are fake. Respect your customers and treat everyone with immense amount of respect and engage them if they are lapsing. But there's no such thing as fake customers. It's very hard to get customers. It's costly to get customers. So if you got a customer, please don't say that they are fake. They bothered to engage with you and download your app or sign up with you or whatever. So yeah.
So Devansh has a question: how do you persuade investors for an idea as crazy as godly? And how do you generate trust among the users that this is true spiritual devotion and not something artificial?
भाई
Interesting.
आप मेरे से जो क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हो वो कुछ साल बाद पूछ लेना, बिकॉज अभी तक तो मैं सक्सेसफुल हुआ नहीं, अभी तो मैंने स्टार्ट किया, अभी तो आई हैव नॉट रेज मनी, सो आई हैव येट टू कन्विंस, बट आई गॉट थ्रू Y Combinator twice already and failed twice with them. So something is brewing. A lot of people taking a lot of interest in this space, and once I convince and I'm able to raise, I'll share it with you. Whether this is looks like a game, is it real or not? Again, people will teach me a lesson. I'm very willing to listen. Ho sakta hai it goes for nothing. But in essence, you have to build a product that customers get a feel. If enough people put it on their head like this, then I know that they get a feel.
Yeah. So one last question somebody asked about the addressing the old age. Till now the all the customers we have been addressing in terms of technology have been the youngsters. Now you are addressing somebody all the especially old age. Is that true?
No, 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 I'm not. I thought I was. I
Mhm.
realized after doing a market study, this is the realization that came. So business teaching you something. I was told by my customers that young people are interested. So it went against everything that my gut was telling me sometimes. And I thought this product would appeal to older generation. But apparently, younger people are extremely interested in digital devotion. They want to use this as the way to do devotion. So it's the business is telling me, "Aap mere liye banao na." I am interested in this devotion. So devotion is not something that apparently, as I thought, not for youth. Apparently, youth wants to do devotion in a different way. I'm at that cusp of saying that yes, do devotion digitally on the phone. Maybe this is how they will do it for the rest of their lives. Remember the large number of things that we were very commonly and frequently using up until last few years have disappeared from our lives, right? Cameras have disappeared from our lives, landlines have disappeared from our lives. So some things you've taken for granted just disappear. In a few years' time, filling up your gas tank is going to disappear. Maybe drivers will need to find other jobs. So so it's not a product really for the older generation. And again, I thought I was building, but business told me otherwise.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting, especially because everybody will come with a perspective that आपको तो बुजुर्गों को माल बेचना है.
नहीं, और हमने जब मार्केट स्टडी करी तो हम और हमारे मार्केट स्टडी करने वाले जो एजेंसी थी, हमारा गट रिएक्शन तो यही था कि हमारे को जो 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 अपील आएगी, इट विल कम फ्रॉम द ओल्डर सेट, and the younger set responded and told us. So listen to your data. Sometimes your gut is giving you a certain direction, but data will tell you something else. So you have to listen to the data.
So Aditya, I'll hand over to Vijendra now. He has some question as well as he wants to, give proceed for the vote of thanks. Thank you, Aditya. It was lovely talking to you.
Thanks,
And बड़ा मजा आता है दाढ़ी वाले से बात करने का. Black beard, white वाले में डर लगता है बात करने के अंदर. So over to you, Vijendra. Can you? Rupesh has a but Rupesh bhai, you can always now go and see godly for all the temples where you can't see a camera. आपको आदित्य सारे जगह लिंक करने वाला है कैमरा के साथ में.
हाँ.
Over to Vijendra.
Good evening, Aditya.
Hi, Vijendra.
First things, I think Ravi missed my question, so maybe
One thing before Vijendra, that hold on.
Yeah.
There's a special request coming from Adit's wife, Vasudha. Do you know that? She's asking, please ask him to act out Kunal Kamra. Sorry, there's a special request, so we have to follow the lady of the house. कुछ तो सुना दो भाई.
I don't know. I couldn't do it right now. Shit, I'm bombing in stage.
Oh, Vijendra, over to you.
Great. So my question to you, Aditya, was that have you parked all your money bags or are still in the process?
Still in the process.
Still in the process. So the second part of the question I'll ask you separately. Thank you so much for this session. I would like to thank on behalf of everyone attending. I don't know the exact number. Thank you, Ravi, for coordinating this. I think it was much needed. although you have given clear instructions, Aditya, that don't follow anybody, but from tomorrow I'll start spending more time in the shower. Let's see what happens if we also come up with something interesting.
You can follow the tips and tricks for sure. Like for example, yeah, shower is a great time. Another great tip is to download the app right now. It's just a great idea.
I have
Follow
already
tips.
done that.
Sign up now.
It's there on my phone.
Oh, wow.
Okay, great. Now the second request is to get into a habit to use it every day.
Daily over here. Daily over here. You start with that. Right?
वो कर लेना अगर feeling है, but use करो.
Achha. There's a special voice coming up. One of your childhood friends want to say something. Can we, Arun, can we unmute? Shavik wants to share a special word to Addy. Is there?
Sharvik and I.
Hi, Addy.
Hi, Sharvik.
Remember those dinky car days that we were together
Yes.
and used to spend either at your house or my house?
Yes, yes, very well. Yes,
So,
very well.
interestingly, guys, for all those, so I and Addy were together in, I'm saying,
Nursery.
kindergarten, and incidentally, we both share our birthdays a day apart. So great to hear this story from those dinky car days to, now you will be not parking those dinky cars, but a lot of bags of monies, as Vijender said, and we'll be glad to know where they are.
Shavik, one thing, the dinky car has changed to Ferrari. So this monk is only driving Ferraris now.
Absolutely. So it's really been it's been a pleasure to hear the hustles that you've been able to accomplish and reach where you have reached today. And just to say that this is just the beginning. I'm sure a lot of great things are going to come. You've got a lovely young daughter, and she'll always look up to you as a great icon. All the best, Addy.
Thanks, Sharvik. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
All of us, such a wonderful journey.
Yeah. And Sharvik, thanks for your presence in my life in initial years and now in the last few years, both in TIE and the other organization. I really, we are all privileged here. Everybody here who can do something as a part of this pandemic to help, please help. Reach out. There are many other people who are in the process of helping. You can give them help or directly anything. Yeah.
Right, sir. Thank you so much. भगवान के लिए हाथ जोड़ते हैं. Godly, सब हाथ जोड़ के keep safe. Bye. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thank you.